Hi everyone, welcome to another Warhammer 3 tier list, where today we're going to be looking at the heroes of the Bretonnians. As with all of our tier lists as of late, this won't be including any unique legendary lords, or well legendary heroes I mean. In this case, Bretonnia has one, it's some paladin punk. He's not that different to a regular paladin, he just has anti-large, or armor piercing. Uh, of course, the way our tier list is gonna go, we got trash, which trash. Don't recruit them. Almost trash. Basically just means get below their weight class. Average, they do exactly what expected of them to do. Above average, they hit above their weight class or they perform better than usual. The pick me, basically the A tier. Want to prioritize recruiting these lords or heroes over everybody else. And one man army pretty much means they can solo most battles by themselves. And the first one we're going to start off with is the prophetess of, guessing that's beasts. I generally find the lore of beasts a very weak magic, so I'm going to kind of put them in trash. The reason being the very weak, weak magic. It's a spellcaster with an already arguably weak roster besides your horsies. I kind of look at her skill line, and this is the prophetess of beasts. As you can tell, she has zero yellow line, which she's pretty much a non-combatant, which really hurts the Bretonnians because they don't really have that good of a roster to begin with. The couple of nice things are she does start off with a barded warhorse, so she is very maneuverable. She can get a roll of Pegasus at 13, which is very nice. Aura of the Lady, which is just a spell resistance plus 10% for all allies within range. Everything else is pretty much standard. Does get a 1 unit, some higher damage, AP, and armor. Wild Heart, power recharge when casting a spell. Flack of Doom, which honestly isn't a bad spell. Probably the only good spell to me, which is just direct damage for all enemies in an area of effect. Pan's Impenetrable Belt, just speed, melee, defense, physical resistance for one ally. Amber Spear, which is a magic missile, nothing too crazy. Curse of Anahair, which affects everybody in range, minus 0.4 melee defense, attack, minus 3 accuracy, and 25% speed for everybody. Transformation of Kadon, which only has 2 uses, summons a mana core. Problem is, mana cores aren't really that good because they have a tendency to go berserk. That's kind of a bad summon, and everything else is kind of standard. Standard red line, standard blue line. No yellow line. Bretonnians do get a unique mechanic called the vows. So, for instance, when you get to the Troth of Protection, upkeep greatly reduced for Knights Errant, Knights of the Realm, and Pegasus Knights. Corruption -3 for local province. Leadership Aura resides plus 25%. Troth of Wisdom, upkeep greatly reduced for questing knights for the Lord's Army. Campaign movement range plus 10%. Winds and magic power reserve plus 10%. And Troth of Virtue, which is upkeep greatly reduced for Grail Knights, Grail Guardians, Royal Pegasus Knights, Royal Hippogriff Knights. This lord is wounded instead of killed in battle. Wound recovery time -1 turn. Magical attacks, Blessings of the Lady, which is 15% damage resistance, and Perfect Vigor, which it's kind of weird because she can already get this at level 20, so it's kind of a weird thing in my opinion. And next is the prophetess, Lore of the Heavens. I say she's almost trash because her lore magics are generally a little better. She has a lot of nukes, and in that case, she does a little bit more damage in the battlefield. Still wouldn't really recruit her over anything else. I just think she's better than Lore of Beasts. And just like the Prophetess of Beasts, no yellow line. But she does get the Lore of Heavens, which harmonic convergence. So come on, which gives armor, melee attack plus 24, melee defense plus 24 for one ally. Wind Blast, which is just a breath attack, which is AP. Not too bad for early spell. Rolling Skies, Hex for flying units, minus 25% speed and minus melee. Curse of the Midnight Wind, minus 24 attack, minus 3 armor for all enemies. Uran's Thunderbolt, her first bombardment, extremely good. Comet of Cassandra, bombardment but a lot bigger. Chain Lightning, which is just a vortex, really good, but I still kind of prefer the nukes. And that's pretty much it. Nothing else special. Pretty much the exact same thing overall. I kind of wish they made them a little bit unique, but that's just me. And next is the prophetess of life, and I'm gonna put her average, mainly because it's a lord option, and you're gonna see when we compare it to the heroes that there's a reason why these are kind of going in this order. Realistically, you don't want to recruit any of them, but the reason why I'm putting her at average because she does do healing magic, which is really nice for the Bretonnian horses. That's pretty good utility for them. Outside of that, she's pretty much a non-combatant. Same exact thing, no yellow line. She does get Awakening of the Wood, which is an explosion, kind of a weak explosion to be fair. Life Bloom, which is a regeneration when casting magic for away. Earthblood, which is the first healing spell for an area, max up to 4. Shield of Thorns, which is melee damage reflection, which I really find weak in this game. Only affects one ally though. Flesh to Stone, physical resistance plus 60. Only affects one ally, which is, I would say, pretty decent. Regrowth, which is the super healing, only applies to one ally, but also does vigor per second minus 1%. Dwellers Below, which is a vortex, halfway decent vortex. Speed minus 25% when hit by it as well. And that's pretty much it. Nothing else special. Nothing different with the vows, sadly. Now after that, we kind of went over to trash prophetess. I'm actually going to put them in the tiers they belong. I would say almost trash for heavens. You just don't recruit the prophets. It's not worth it. Now, next is the Fae Enchantress, and she's pretty much a juiced-up prophetess. She's actually kind of useful to have, mainly because of her skill line. I'm gonna kind of put her in almost trash. I mean, for a legendary casting lord, she's not very good in my opinion. That's just kind of me. I mean, she does get magical attacks pretty early. She does get a unique mount at rank 5. Lore Master of Life, Power Familiar, which is Winds of Magic, Reserve Capacity plus 15, Blessed Water, Charge Bonus plus 30% for battle programs and Grail Relics. Okay. Secrets of the Grail Spell Resistance for said battle programs or Grail Relics. Girdle of Gold, which awards save plus 15%. Beacon of Devotion, construction costs minus 25% for worship buildings. Construction time minus 1 for worship buildings. Sacred Duty, recruit rank plus 2 for Grail Knights and Grail Guardian units. Melee attack plus 5 for Grail Knights, Grail Guardian units, and melee defense plus 5 for them as well. Really expensive units, really like it. Control plus 3, growth plus 5, corruption minus 10, and wins to magic reserve plus another 15, and ward save plus 10 for prophetess, lords, and embedded damsel for all armies, which is pretty decent. Gets the same lore of life, nothing too crazy. Gets the red tree, gets the blue tree, with no yellow tree. Once again, it's really weak for vows. Same exact thing, nothing different, sadly, for a legendary lord. It does get favor of the Fae as well, which is melee attack plus 4 for one ally. It is what it is. Also, she does get Mist of the Lady, which is a hex area, melee attack minus 5, and damage per second. in melee, of course. I don't know why you want to throw this person in melee, but eh. And next is just kind of the Bretonnian standard lord. His name is Lord. He's kind of like like a general of the Empire or a like dwarf lord. Okay at melee, not too crazy. He's probably just average. But actually, I'm gonna put him above average because at least he starts out with a mount, and there's some funky, you can have some fun campaign mechanics with him. But his skill line is kind of basic. The Bretonnians haven't been touched at all since Warhammer, out of Warhammer 2, sadly. So, they kind of need some loving, much like the Empire accounts. But they do start off with a Barded Warhorse. They get a Royal Pegasus at rank 8, and a Hippogriff at rank 14. Very nice. Very scary. Does get Lance of Bretonnia, which is charge bonus plus 9%. Blessings of the Lady, which is the word save 15%. And then for pretty much just standard yellow line, standard red line, standard blue line. The bows, once again, the exact same. I kind of did something different. And next on the list is Albrecht de Bordeaux. If I said that right, I will be surprised. Honestly, just a kind of a juiced up regular lord, but not really that crazy different. He is a legendary lord. Just I will put him in front though. You. He just performs the same. He's not really that terrifying to fight on the battlefield. I mean, he does start off with a Bard Warhorse. You can get a Royal Pegasus as well as a unique Hippogriff. Aspiring Knights, which is leadership plus 5 for squires, melee plus 8 for foot squires, weapon strength plus 12% for foot squires. Champion Bordeaux, leadership plus 5 for Knights of the Realm units, bonuses to large plus 15 for Knights of the Realm units. He does get lead from the front, which is passive ability to hold the line. Hit points 10% in character or leadership effect plus 5, so he does a little bit better job of holding front line. Construction cost minus 40 for ports and minus 1 turn for them as well. Shipping lanes minus 25% for resource producing buildings, plus or minus 1 in construction time for resource producing buildings, and tradable resources produced plus 10% faction wide. Appoint Reeves. I don't know how to say these French words. Peasants Duty Commandment, additional 10 growth. Peasants Duty, additional 5% control, or 5 control, and 3% additional income for all provinces. And that was Blessings of the Lady, which is 15% war save. Standard yellow line, standard red line, standard line. Once again, the fouls are the exact same as well. And he does get Trident of Man, which is melee attack plus 6, weapon strength plus 10%, Wrath of Man, which is a wind they can use twice, and melee attack plus 12 when attacking at sea for his Lord's army. Kind of useless, not gonna lie. He gets the Breda Bordeaux, which is melee attack plus 10, passive ability Breda Bordeaux, which is bonus for large plus 12, leadership plus 4, and Strider for everybody in the range. And enemy leadership minus 10 for the whole region. That's not too bad. Next is Rapans de Lioness. Am I saying that right? I hope I am. Pretty much just like Albrecht, I would say, except she's more. The best way I could describe her is she's more of a melee cab. He's more of a shock cab unit. That's the best way I can kind of change to. Just kind of above average for a legendary word. That hasn't been touched since Warhammer 2. And pretty much her skills are, actually, let's get her abilities here. She does get a explosion magic, which doesn't hurt friendly troops, but it's poor against bands, but it's pure armor piercing. Blinded. Melee attack. Minus 24 melee defense, minus 24 in accuracy, minus 30. Does get champion to people as well. Chivalry plus 4, leadership plus 5 for peasants units, which still isn't much for peasants. Physical resistance 5% for all peasants units. A little bit tame. Does get a unique barded warhorse, but that's all she gets. She gets Fleur de Lis Banner, which is melee attack +8, melee defense +10. Affects everybody in range if in melee, but she wants to be in melee. Bad thing. The People's Hero, AP +3 for infantry units, casualty replenishment rate +5%, and melee attack +5 for her army. Banish Discourage, enable flame attacks when fighting against vampire accounts, host, and tomb kings. Melee attack +8 when fighting against said vampires, and immune to psychology when fighting against said accounts. Now, I could be wrong, but when it says enabling flame attacks when fighting, I'm going to guess and say that it's only procced when fighting them. Otherwise, I do see that as a debuff. But if you're only fighting the vampire accounts, that's actually really kind of note. Courageous, ward save +10%. Ward save +10%, melee attack +15. Rebuild the ruins, construction cost -25% for all buildings. A local region, construction time -50% for all buildings. Local recruitment capacity +2 for the local region and province. Honorable and pure, corruption -5, leadership +25%. Character aura size leadership effect +5. And Eternal Anarchy War. Jeez. Passive ability Frenzy for the entire Lord's army and gives her Unbreakable, which that is really strong. But that's kind of it gives it to the army. I think it does also give her if she doesn't have it. Standard yellow line, standard red line, standard blue line. Yeah. And the vows are the same exact thing as always. She does get the Sword of Lionese these nuts. Spell resistance plus -15% for enemy armies in the region, and ability to Sword of Lion, which is a base weapon damage 60%, AP +50%, and melee attack +40. A pretty decent fighting character. Like I said, I kind of find it equal to Bordelou. They do their own things a little better. Now on to Louis Lucour, right? Louis, King Louis himself. He's kind of weird. He has potential to be a one-man army. I would say at his max potential, he is slightly weaker than Karl Franz, but I think he can also be scary with the right builds. That being said, he does have potential to be a one-man army. I would say he's kind of a little bit on the weaker side of one-man army, but he can definitely pull. Now, the reason why I say this is because, well, first off, he does get started off with Bar Warhorse, then a Royal Pegasus, then a unique Hippogriff, so he's a flying mount, kind of like Karl is, which makes him really good at Lord sniping already. Crown of Bretonia, leadership +5 for the Lord's army. Army of the King, casualty replenishment rate +8% knight units. Font of Armor, which is recruit rating +2 for Knights of the Realm, upkeep -25% for Knights of the Realm. And questing Knights. Respect by all, diplomatic relations +10, well factions. Construction cost -50% for barracks, as well as -1 turn for barracks, and local recruitment capacity +1 for local province. Exemplary conduct, chivalry +5 per turn, hero capacity +1 for paladins, and recruit rank +2 for paladins of all provinces, faction wide pretty much. Ladies Champion, which is a 1 free use heal spell, which is nice. Beloved Son of Bretonia, weapon damage +15%, charge bonus 10%, melee attack +8, immune to psychology, affects everybody in range. Enabled if hit points is less than 50%, so kind of that for note. So the less health he has, the scarier he gets. Lion Shield, which is missile resistance +40, and spell resistance +40. So since he's in a flying mount, he can really negate the range spam. Standard red line, standard yellow line, standard red line, standard blue line. Nothing too crazy. Same exact vow, except he starts with all of them. He does get Armor of Brilliance, which is armor plus 30, ward save plus 10, and Sword of Corona. Wait, I didn't say that. Which upkeep minus 5% for Lord's army, income for battle loot 10%, root cost minus 10% for his army, melee attack plus 6, enabled flaming attacks, which is but he does get magic attacks already. Yeah. Weapon strength plus 10%, and Sword of Corona, which is melee defense minus 24 and armor minus 30 for enemies within range. He's a quite decent fighter. He does get Blessings of the Lady automatically, as well as Perfect Vigor. And he does get leadership plus 12 and fighting against demons, undead, greenskins, chaos dwarf, and melee attack as well. So he's pretty much unbreakable pretty early. You can make him even more unbreakable. And next are the prophetess. This is going to be the kind of hero section. The first one is this is damsel. No, not prophets, they're damsels. Key difference. This one is damsel of beasts. Once again, useless. In my opinion, really weak magic, not really worth recruiting. It kind of, I know this says heavens, but it's the same exact thing. The only difference is they don't get a red or skill line. They will replenish troops, cleanse corruption, steal tech, wound, black army, and specialist. They do get a war horse as well as a unicorn, slightly better stats. Aura of the Lady, with 10% spell resistance for everybody in range. And of course, the foul mechanic, which is just growth plus 20, corruption minus 1. Cooldown minus 10% for all spells, wins magic cost minus 10% for all spells, and virtue, which is magical attacks, blessings of the Lady, perfect figure, and instead of kill, they will be wounded. A little bit different of vows. I just find I find the damsels actually having more utility than I do the actual Lord variants. I would rather have a melee Lord than a magic caster because I hate magic. The heavens one, honestly, I'll put them average. They could kind of support the front line pretty well. Same exact thing except Lord of Heavens. I'm not gonna go over their skill line because it's not different. And of course, the damsel of healing is extremely good. And I'm gonna honestly put them in the pick me section. They're A tier. You should really run with a Lore of Heavens or Lore of Life caster to keep your heroes up to snuff and keep your cavalry topped off at all times. I know some people are gonna be like, "Well, why did you put the legendary lords below?" Well, because they provide utility. Well, Fade Enchantress just her issue is she gets lord sniped too easily. That's pretty much her problem. Fade Enchantress is equal or better healer. Holy crap! Than the actual healers damsels. She just gets lord sniped too easily, and she's too important to a weak moraled army. Now the paladin is kind of like the Empire Captain. I kind of see him a little weak because he hasn't been touched up at all in Warhammer 3. Where the Empire Captain can at least buff his units a little bit more. I mean, it's a stronger melee hero for a weak melee army or for infantry wise. I'm gonna kind of put him in trash. Just put him behind the damsel because at least the damsel has some utility about her. Now, the paladin has a standard yellow line. He does do training, spread control, assault garrison, assassinate, assault units, specialist. He doesn't have any bonus, anything really, sadly. Does get a bonus versus large, which is nice. Does get a Bard Warhorse at Pegasus. For his vows, armor plus 5, leadership plus 5, melee attack plus 5, melee defense plus 5, and Grail Vow, which enables magical attacks, 50% ward save and perfect vigor. Which all of that would juice him up, except it could take a while to get these because these vows kind of suck in my opinion. If the vows were easier to get, I would probably rate this guy to be honestly a high C tier, maybe even a low B tier, it's very hard to get him there. And that valve mechanic kind of works against a lot of the Bretonnian units, at least the legendary lords generally would start off with it. Next is Felix. And honestly, I kind of give Felix a lot of hate, but with a weak melee or infantry army, he's really nice to have. So honestly, I'm gonna kind of put him at average. He does what he needs to do. He can kind of support the front line a little better that needs it, and then he's more anti-infantry, and then Gotrek is more the anti-large. Absolutely love Gotrek. He is really slow for a fast moving army. So I'm gonna kind of put him just above average in this case. The Bretonnians really don't have that lot of good of anti-large options, and he's breakable, so it's have. And next on the list is the Green Knight. He's basically a mounted version of Krell from the vampire accounts. Extremely scary. The only problem is you have to summon him, and he's only around for about 8 to 10 turns ish, and you get more summons as you campaign stuff, like get your chivalry up, and when you get up to like a almost max level, you can summon him indefinitely, or as many times as you want. Boy, he's only around for 10 turns. And this is kind of, and also he doesn't have a skill tree. He is considered a hero unit. He's not summoned in battle like Krell is, so he takes up one slot, and he doesn't have a skill tree. So it's kind of this weird, where should we actually put him? Because he's a hero, he doesn't have a skill tree. But the game treats him like a hero. In all honesty, I'm gonna probably put him in A tier to pick me tier, because if you do have him and you can summon him indefinitely, he's extremely good to have. Except he's a pain to get to that point. Doesn't have a skill tree, but he is quite a scary fighter. It's just, he's just awkward. That's the problem. The campaign mechanics hurt him too much. I'm kind of biased towards him because I love using him. Honestly, if they want to go the Krell route and make him a summonable, like an army ability, they should. If they're gonna make him a hero, give him a skill tree, please. I don't know why they did this half-assed thing. If you really want to look at the whole mechanics holding him back, I would honestly put him probably at average, because he does perform good. It's just very situational, but when he is in battle, he does mess things up. As you can see, no skill. It's there, I just can't click on it, which is really dumb. He gets virtually little to no armor. I think he gets armor from the army he's in. He's unbreakable. He has magical attacks. He has frostbite. He has very good AP, really high charge. He gets Glorious Blade, which is AP plus 50, melee attack plus 24. Does get Blessing of the Lady, 50% damage, ward save. Sacred Guardian, which is kind of weird, and he will heal when he's in a forest, which is kind of really situational, but it's kind of nice to have. He is considered a ghosty boy, so he does get physical resistance plus 55, mixed with Blessings of the Lady. That's like what, 70 math? Yeah, 70. So he gets basically 70 resistance, so kind of hard to kill unless you bring magical attackers. He does cause fear, cause terror. He does encourage. He has perfect vigor, as well as Vanguard deploy, and hides in the forest. That's pretty much it. And this is my finished tier list of the Bretonnians Lords and Heroes. Like I said, there's kind of some odd placements that can definitely be shifted around, because the Bretonnians are kind of tied too hard to the campaigns in order to make them good, sadly. Of course, if you guys have any different opinions of where these fellers should go, please let me know in the comments below. I love to discuss that with you guys. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe for notification when I go live, upload a video, or do any other shenanigans on YouTube. And make sure you hit the notification bell to actually get notified of such shenanigans on YouTube, because I pissed YouTube off.